everybody. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not new, if you've been around. I am so excited for this episode. This is something that I wanted to share since I learned about it a couple months ago, a couple years ago. Every time I read or I study this, I learn something or I pick something new up, and I'm just so excited to share this with you guys. Whether you're married, you're engaged, you're dating, you're dreaming about being married one day, or children, I hope that you listen to this message. I hope that you learn something, and I hope that you live by it. I pray that you live by it and you take something away from it. Living by God's word results in the best gratification that you could ask for the things that you're given and the things that you're blessed with. It's a privilege to be a stay-at-home mom, especially in today's economy. I mean, the world is crazy right now. When my husband and I decided that we were going to start trying to have babies and, starting to make our whole family whole, daycare was not on the table. We had come to the conclusion that it's not an option for us. Daycare will not happen. And so we're going to do whatever we need to do in order for one of us to stay with the kids, to be a stay-at-home parent. And then we came to the conclusion that I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. I love being a mom. I always wanted to be a mom. Love babies, love kids. So I'm thrilled, right? I'm thrilled to the moon that I'm the one that got to be the stay-at-home parent. We were willing to change whatever lifestyle choices that we needed to in order to make this happen. Whether it was, spending money on eating out, ordering takeout, whatever it may have been, we were willing to cut back or change if we needed to. Personally for me, I don't wear makeup. There's no glitz and glamour here. I don't get my nails done. If I do, it might be once every 3 months. I might go get a pedicure maybe, right? I don't wear makeup. I don't do the eyelashes. I don't do all these things. My hair, like all these things. I don't spend money on it. And I think that you can look presentable. And yes, it's important to look presentable and take care of yourself. You don't need to do all of these things in order to look presentable. You can do that without all of the extra pink toenails that nobody's gonna see because you're wearing boots because it's winter time. And I understand, it feels good, all of the things. I do want to stop and preface, I'm no way, shape, or form judging or talking down on anybody who does use daycare or chooses to do daycare. Everybody's situations are different. This is just my preference with me and my husband. And I would recommend, if you don't want to do daycare and you are able to change some lifestyles for someone to stay at home with the kids, to do so, because it's important, and we'll get to that today. It's just so important to me, and just in general. But we'll get back to that. Back to the things that I do in order to make this happen. We budget every month. We go through what bills are coming out that we need to pay, what groceries, what diapers, formula, all the things. We have the lists out. I mean, when was the last time you saw somebody sit down with a planner with their partner or open up their budgeting app? I mean, Rocket Money is getting $10 a month or whatever the subscription is just for fun, and nobody's even opening up the app. Nobody's using it. I haven't heard anybody talking, use it, actually. I hear ads and people talking about it all the time. Me and my husband use it, but we open it, We make sure that things are coming out that are supposed to come out. We are, paying off whatever. We have hospital bills from the babies, all of the things. We're organized, and we make sure that we pay attention to the budget. And so we don't exceed ourselves and put ourselves in a poor spot because we don't have extra income coming in to take care of those things. We have what my husband makes. We live a pretty minimalistic life. We don't have brand new cars. We don't have the brand new TV, the brand new phones. We have what we need to get by. We don't have brand new couch. The minimums of what we need, and we make do with that. My husband has what he needs for work, whether it's a computer, monitors, all of those things. But we don't really have anything above that. We have a car that fits our family. When we purchased our car, we had 4 dogs and about 200 pounds of shepherd. And so we needed a larger vehicle for the dogs and the babies to fit safely, for all of us to fit in. We have what works for us. And then on top of everything, I have a hardworking husband. My husband wants to provide for his family. He makes sure that he is doing what he needs to do in order for his income to come. And so I'm able to do what I need to do for the kids and the family. And if you think about it, if you do the math, I think it's like $184,000 a year is what a stay-at-home mom would make if she were paid, whatever the wages are. I don't know. You can do the math. But I think that's what it came down to. So in the big picture, if we're looking at the importance of jobs on the price paying scale, we're pretty high up there. So like, don't want to toot our horns, but toot toot. With being a stay-at-home mom, there are a lot of feelings and a lot of things that come with that. I mean, you have no alone time. You have no free time. Your agenda can just go out the window because it's whatever the baby wants. I mean, the other day, my laundry sat in the basket for 2 days to be folded, and I love laundry. I will stay up an hour later to fold laundry because I'm weird. It gets my mind off things. It's like blank, mindless work for me. That's why I like it, I think. And it looks pretty, you know, my closet's color coordinated, but that's besides the point. My baby was in the mood to be held all day. And so laundry didn't get done because I couldn't put her down. That upset her and all the things. And she's not spoiled by me holding her all day. She's 4 months old. She's learning. She's awake. She just realized that we're separated and that, why are you over there, Mom? Like, I'm here, you know. You all know. I know. If you have had a baby, you know. Even if you've watched babies, you know, they're the clingy babies out here. There. And both of my babies are, what do they call it? Velcro babies. Both of my babies are Velcro babies, and I am a Velcro mom, so I don't mind at all. So, your agenda is gone. Whatever the baby wants to do is what's going to happen. If you need to go to the store, you go quick. You only get half your grocery list, you know, because the baby wants to go home. My biggest thing that I struggled with when I became a stay-at-home mom, and I've been one now for almost 2 years. My daughter's almost 2. That's so crazy. Wow, that's insane. So I've been a stay-at-home mom for almost 2 years. And the biggest thing that I struggled with for the majority of the time, really up until like 6 months ago, I felt guilty for not being able to provide financially for my family. And it took me a really, really, really long time and a lot of talking through with my husband and God on how to, like, why I feel that way, you know? Like, for all of my adult life, and until recently when I stopped working, I provided for myself, and when I met my husband, I provided my half. Like, everything was, you know, I took care of my part, and I took care of myself and everything. And so letting go of that was really hard for me, and the enemy really had a stronghold on me. He knew that that was something that he could hold on to me. Once I realized, and I know I didn't realize it by myself, I think that in what I'll get to in a moment, it was God helped me realize, is by me holding on to that and not letting go, I was holding my husband back unintentionally as the provider of the home and the man of the home, all of his roles and responsibilities. I was holding him back on those, so he couldn't fulfill them fully because of the stronghold I had. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take." You know, God is so giving. Once I followed that and I read that and I understood it and I gave him, you know, I trusted him with the fact that we're gonna be okay financially, you know, because it's not like I don't know how much my husband makes. You know, I know how much he makes. I know how much our bills are. And so I don't know where, it's silly to me, honestly, that I fell for it, what the enemy was doing, because nothing has changed, you know. The only thing that's changed is my income, but it's really not that different, you know. And so I just, like, looking back at it now, it's just so silly to me because I'm like, nothing changed. I know how much he's making. It's not like it was just so silly to me. And I still am, it's just so silly. After I understood that and I was talking through with my husband and then I was speaking with God about it again, I go to my husband for everything. He's, you know, let me talk to you, let me talk to God. Okay, talk to God, let me talk to you again. Like, it's a three-way conversation, and he's so great at supporting me in that, because I'm still, you know, we're still learning the discerning. We're still learning. And we're always learning. But once I gave it to God and I turned to him and I prayed for him to remove this stronghold that the enemy had and all the things. I trusted God. I told God, I said, I trust you. I know you're going to guide us in the right way. I trust you to direct us and show us where to go with our finances, when we can afford things, what things we can afford, which things we can't afford. And he has done just that. You know, he's helped me keep my peace about everything. And it's just such an overwhelming urge of gratitude that I have, and gratefulness for that, because he's helped me let go, and he's shown me it's okay, and he's helped us fulfill our household roles as wife and husband and father and mother, if that makes sense. And it's just so amazing. And so that verse is just so great, and I'll link it below so you can follow up on it. On contrary to the negative things of being a stay-at-home mom, or the overwhelming things of being a stay-at-home mom, there are so many positive things, and so many things that I just am so grateful for, that I get to experience with the kids, with myself, and all of everything. I mean, the first things first is I got to heal fully. I got to recover. I wasn't on a time clock to get back to work, and that is the first thing I'm forever grateful for. You know, I'm not stressed about finding daycare, being able to afford daycare. Because truthfully, daycare prices, what I've heard, insane. I don't know who can afford that, but glory to God that I don't have to worry about that, and I'm able to, because honestly, I think my whole salary would have gone to daycare, like thinking about how much I made and everything. So we won't talk about that, because I don't know a lot about it, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. The first thing that just makes me so happy is that I'm raising my kids. You know, nobody else is raising my kids. I know what's being fed to them, what's being taught to them, what's going in their ears, what they're seeing on the TV, if the TV's on, or what books they're reading, what toys they're playing with, everything. My kids are with me 24/7. On rare occasions, I'll let my husband drag me out of the house, and we'll go on dates and everything, and I'm so grateful for those. And I am learning to let go and to let the grandparents help out. I've been doing really good these past 4 months. I've been doing really good. I think we've gotten out these past 4 months than we did the first 16 months of my oldest daughter's life. And I know my husband is very grateful for that, because we're coming back together after that whole postpartum shift, and I'm so thankful for that. I have such a deep, genuine bond with my girls, and the connection I have with my girls is just uncanny. You know, I don't know if it would be the same if they were gone or we were separated for 8 hours a day or 9 hours a day, however long a work shift is. And so that's an amazing thing that I'm grateful for. You know, I know which color fork they prefer. I know what their in baby talk, I know what she's saying. You know, if people come to me and ask, can you translate? It's like, yeah, I can translate, because I know what she's saying, because I'm around her all day. Or, oh, she doesn't like that song. You know, like this mumbling means this mumbling means that. And not even just that, the communication side of things. Like, they want me. You know, I'm their safety blanket. I don't have to deal with the decompression of they just got home from school. We have to decompress because it was such a crazy emotional day, or the emotions of, hey, they're having a hard day, can you come get them? No, I'm at work. All of everything, you know, and I'm just really grateful for that. And that follows into the consistent guidance that I have in their life. You know, like I said just a second ago, the decompression and the switching of environments, I don't have to stress about, and they don't have to stress about it. And the last thing they need to worry about is whatever comes with that, you know, because they're babies. Any age kid, truthfully, shouldn't have to worry about the stress of school, in my opinion, or daycare, whatever you call it. I think it's daycare until the age of 3, whether they call it school or not. Yeah, I was listening to some lady talk about that, and it makes sense because of the whole cognitive situation. But I'm not an expert. We're not going to talk about it. In today's society, the enemy has worked so hard to twist people's minds, and it makes me so sad. It's truthfully disturbing what the enemy has done. Because his goal is to break up families, and he will do anything and everything he can to break them up, to split them apart, to separate them. Whether, I'm not talking about divorce and stuff, but that is one. I'm talking about sending the kids away for 9 hours a day, making the adults have to go away for 9 hours a day because they can't afford to live. And again, I know everybody's situation is different. I'm not trying to condemn anybody. I'm not trying to speak down on anybody who uses daycare, who needs it, who wants it. I'm not trying to do any of that. So don't take it that way, please. The enemy makes women think that they either can't do it, like mentally or financially or emotionally, they can't be with their kids. Their kids are annoying, they're overstimulating. They're touching me too much. And I do understand, like, you get touched out. My love language is not touch. My husband can tell you that I need a minute when I need a minute. But that's why it's important to have a good husband. I will say that. We'll talk about that in another episode. Going back to the enemy, he will make women think, or people think, that they're going to be judged if they want to be a stay-at-home mom just for thinking the idea, and he'll make them feel embarrassed for wanting to do it or even doing it. And it's just so sickening. I mean, not being a stay-at-home mom, that's the title nowadays, but being with your kids, raising your kids, it's in us. It's our job. It's our job to raise our children. It's our job to manage our household. And I'm not saying that you can't, have a side hustle or go to work or do whatever you want to do. Well, all I'm saying is, what you choose to do, you need to make sure that you're keeping your responsibilities in line. And your responsibilities are to raise your children and to take care and protect your children. And so making sure that those are in line or align with what you're choosing to do outside of the home is so important. In Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31, it's my favorite verse of all time. This is what I live by. This is what I continue to study. I'm praying and so hard that I'm able to teach women and to show women this section of life in the Bible. It is so important for you as a woman and a mother and a household and a wife and everything to not only read this word, but to live by the word. Let the word bleed into you. This is something I'm so passionate about. Once my husband introduced it to me. And the first time I read it, I was in tears. I was in tears over it. And I read it again, and I read it again. Every time I read it, I highlight a new line. I underline a new line. I'm writing more notes. I'm researching more about this specific characteristic and this specific. What can I do to improve the way I'm living by this? So let me just read this really quick to you. It's Proverbs 31, verse 10 through 31. Who can find a virtuous and capable wife? She is more precious than rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she can greatly enrich his life. She brings him good, not harm, all of the days of her life. She finds wool and flax and spins it. She is like a merchant's ship, bringing her food from afar. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household and plans the day's work for her servant girls. She goes to inspect a field and buys it. With her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She is energetic and strong, a hard worker. She makes sure her dealings are profitable. Her lamp burns light into the night. Her hands are busy spinning thread, her fingers twisting fiber. She extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. She has no fear of winter for her household, for everyone has warm clothes. She makes her own bedspreads. She dresses in fine linen and purple gowns. Her husband is well known in the city gates, where he sits with the other civic leaders. She makes belted linen garments and sashes to sell to the merchants. She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. When she speaks, her words are wise, and she gives instructions with kindness. She carefully watches everyone in her household and suffers nothing from laziness. You need to prioritize your family. Prioritize your family by a sense of what their needs are, and once you figure out what their needs are, you need to provide them and fulfill them. Those are most important. Just being there for your family. And if that is being a stay-at-home mom or dad, dads can do it too. I know a very, very successful man who is a stay-at-home dad. I look up to him so much. But you need to prioritize your family. You need to shape your children's hearts, guide them with integrity. You need to show them their worthiness. You need to manage your home. You gotta keep it tidy. You gotta cook the meals, fold the laundry, wake up before everybody, make sure that everything's taken care of around your home before the babies are up, so your husband can get up and go to work. If he needs breakfast, make him some breakfast if he's going to work, And I know people are gonna say, well, what about me? I need to take care of me. And I'm not saying you don't, because you do. You are very important as a mom. That's where a good husband comes in. And we'll talk about that in another episode. But a good husband being able to step in and help you when you need the help, and you're able to communicate with him. You just need to put your family first in a lot of aspects. And the whole porridge story, this dad's is too hot, baby bears is perfect, mama bears is too cold. But there's a reason that's a thing. And I'm not saying that your porridge always needs to be cold, because it doesn't. But again, that's where having a good partner is so important. You need to be kind, teach your babies kindness, speak to them kindly, raise them so their first instinct is kindness. You have to be wise, be wise in the sense of managing things well. Be smart with your money, be smart with what you have, You don't need to go to the grocery store every day to get something for dinner. I know you have cans of something, or you have something in the freezer. Make do with what you have. Help your husband out in a sense of not stressing about spending more than what is needed. Just be smart with the money. You can help out with the money. Like, for example, my husband makes the money and I help manage the money. He doesn't know which Wi-Fi provider we have, and he doesn't really need to know. The only thing he needs is to know is if it's working or not, so he can work. Last thing that he needs to be stressing about is, after a long day of work, paying for what we have and where we're living, is worrying about if the bills are paid, because the bills could be stacking up, but he's got the money for it. It wouldn't make any sense for him to work if you're not paying for the bills with the money. And it is our money. He makes that very clear. That's another thing I struggled with when I was talking about Proverbs 3 verses 5 through 6 is I always called it his money or your money. And then he's like, our money? And I was like, our money. We are married. Yes. Perfect. One of the most important things that I want to say is to respect your husband. Respect your spouse, your significant other, whatever stage of relationship you're in. Just respect them. Respect them as a people. Respect them as their role. Whatever their roles are, respect them. Don't step on their toes with it. For example, we took apart something the other day, dishwasher, maybe washing machine, something. And my first instinct was, I'll do it. I used to handle all of the things by myself. And he looked at me like, I'll do it. And I was like, you're right, you do it. And so that's something I'm also still working on. But it's his role, to manage the things. If a plumbing situation happens, I don't want to stick my arm in the poop water. He doesn't want me to he doesn't really want to stick his arm in the poop water, but he's going to do it because he's the man of the house. And that's just the way rules are. And I'm not trying to gender role anybody or whatever that thing is that is a thing. But if we're going back to the basics and we're living by the word, it is what it is. And I'm sorry if that offends you. If you respect your spouse, significant other, husband, wife, if you give it, you will most likely get it. And the last thing I want to say is take pride in it. Be proud of yourself. Take pride in being a wife. Take pride in being a mother. Take pride in having a family. Take pride in it. Do the best you can with what God's given you and what God has shown you. You're only accountable for what you know and for what he's shown you. And in the end, it'll pay off for your kids. And that's the end goal here, is making sure that our babies are taken care of. They're set, their best efforts are set for them. Their foundation is laid. Life is good for them. That's the end goal here. And I do want to close out by saying again, I am not saying you cannot do anything outside of being a mom and a wife. You are more than capable of doing more than that. I'm doing more than that. You just need to make sure and prioritize that your responsibilities as being a mother and a wife are in line with whatever your plans are, whatever you're working towards. So, with that, Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you heard something in this message that can help you, or something you can study more on, or something you can learn more about. If you have any questions or want to talk about anything, please feel free to send me a message or email me. I'll put my email down below. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and maybe share this with one of your friends. Have a great week, and I'll see you all later.